The pattern continues. So yesterday, even though I ate a bunch of food post-show, I felt pretty normal, like just kind of carved up like regular. But today, 2 days out, just like just like what happened with Vegas, I am feeling watery. Like if you've ever seen those clips of like a bodybuilder where they're just about in prep or like they're getting ready to go on stage, and if they're holding water, sometimes what they'll do is they'll sort of push their fingers into their shin a little bit, because there's this kind of it's like a good little indicator of if you're really holding a lot of water. So I could do that this morning and it leaves like a little dent because I've got a bunch of basically subcutaneous water that's now sucked back into my system. Now I probably could have mitigated that, right? Because if I if all I ate yesterday and today, or 2 days ago and today, was like the same dieting foods as normal, I probably wouldn't have had such a big rebound. But there's if you were concerned that there was a caniac last night, a full caniac combo with 2 extra slices of bread, if you think one of those might have been eaten, you might be right. I think you would. I think you'd actually be more right than you know, because it freaking disappeared. Plus a little bit of vanilla bean ice cream. So I'm kind of getting some of the sweets out of my system. But over the course of the next couple of days, that will reach more of an equilibrium state. And instead of feeling like I'm really like puffy and kind of watery, like honestly I can feel that my hands are a little more swollen. Like not crazy, like not like edema level or anything, but a little bit more than normal. So it's like if I wore a ring, it might not fit right now. But 30 minutes of cardio complete. I was kind of excited to get in the sauna, but I forgot the gym that I go to, the Y that has a sauna, doesn't open until 10, and I got to be at the Expo for some photos at 11. So it just wouldn't fit the time frame. So just 30 minutes on the seated bike. Felt good to get some blood flowing, but I could tell yesterday my hamstrings and my glutes were extra sore, and I know what it was from. It was from all the flexing in like the back lat spreads and the back double biceps on stage, because every time I would hit one of those, I was really trying to like pull out all the detail in my hamstring and like really flex my glutes so that it looked soft, and like all the squeezing, like it added up to fatigue that I'm still feeling now. So 2 days of non-lifting, now I'm ready to get back into it. So before I can even think about what the workout's going to be tonight, I've got a full day of Expo extravagance. It was pretty funny. I was walking to I was kind of walking through the crowd incognito to make it backstage for one of the panel interviews that I did yesterday, and I saw Shan's bra, and freaking huge. But I had my hood on and my hat and everything. I was trying to be extra sneaky, so I like bump him. So I'm sure he was like, "Who the hell is this freaking asshole?" But when I turned around and waved at him, he was kind of laughing. Yeah, it is so like if you've never been to the Arnold or any kind of fitness expo like that, it is so crazy seeing all these guys who you only ever see on your phone actually in person running around. I mean, it's freaking great. So I'm just so spoiled that it's so close to home. And then last night we ended up watching the classic guys. Holy shit. So of course Mike took it, but Logan was looking extremely freaking classic, like real grainy, like every bicep shot you could see there was still like tricep definition underneath. Like it was, when you're up there, it's definitely different than seeing these guys pose down just in the regular pictures. And then when they did their open pose down, all the lights were going crazy, and we got to sit right up in the front row. Like they were they were just going totally freaking nuts. But that was a pretty good, not eye-opener, because of course I know that's the level that they're at, but yeah, a lot of room to improve. Because like the level of leanness and dryness I brought for my show, like for that level, reasonable, right? But for the actual, competitive pros, you got to step up your game. So that's going to be my plan for later on. So if you were curious, do I plan on competing again? Yeah, damn freaking right. But I'm coming into it with the same pretense as I did with these amateur shows, because what's my weight limit, right? Now I can be 227, or if I do like an inversion table and try to stretch myself out, I could maybe be on check-in day like an extra half-inch taller, maybe even be 234, right? But that's kind of tricky. You never know how tall you can kind of like temporarily make yourself. But assuming 227, that means that I can have 10 pounds of lean tissue on my frame and still be within that weight cap. So from the way I look at it, right, it's just like fighting in all those weight classes. You don't want to come in underweight if you could be bigger. So I definitely want to make use of a long off season, potentially a few bulking and mini cutting phases to try to build up close to that 10 pounds, and then see where I stand with a bit of extra muscle. Because, I mean, 10 pounds is an insane difference. Even just a few pounds would make a pretty good look. But as that all kind of builds up, it'll start to make me look a bit more complete. And honestly, it's even the same thing with anybody at any size. Like if you're curious about muscular imbalances, or like, oh, I'm worried my left bicep is a little bigger, or my right pec insert's a little higher than my left one, like, don't stress about it. You know, the bigger you get and the more you train, the longer you work out for, those sort of things just kind of blend in together as you get a little bit bigger. And you don't have to be a 200-pound or a 250-pound freaking beast for that to happen, right? I mean, even my imbalances from starting at 160, even getting up to just 180 was a pretty massive difference. So I don't know what the lift will be later tonight, but let's just cut to some random, maybe some random shenanigans that we get into at the Expo. So I'll see you in there. There we go. So that was fun. A rather interesting few hundred characters interacted with at the Arnold. I feel a little bad though. 2 days after the show is my puffiest, holding on to the most wateriest kind of look. So I'm a little extra soft in the face. Not as it looks like I've totally skipped my looks maxing for the last couple days. But that's just the nature of the rebound. But today was fun. And I tell you something, you know, for as many guys as I ran into, and they got to tell me their story about how, like, you know, I got them started in the lifting in general, I'm way more kind of connected, like on the same wavelength with the guys where they tell me, dude, Sam, look at this. And they flip their phone around. And it's them 1 year ago, or like however long ago. He's like, yeah, after I started listening to you talk about the cardio and the calories, you know, this was me. And now I lost 100 freaking pounds. Because honestly, I mean, gaining 10 pounds of muscle as a beginner, it's kind of just the way things work, right? But to go through the process of learning about the macros and everything else like that, you get a different understanding. Like you actually know, like, oh shit, these grams of carbs in these rice cakes, or the amount of fats in this whatever, it adds up, right? And you got to be a little extra tricky and track it. So that's where I feel like those guys kind of have a bit of an advantage, because they've like they've almost been forced to really jump into it, having to know every bit of, you know, working pieces of what's going on, and they just get a deeper understanding. And I think it lets them sort of skyrocket later on into more leaner gains, because they have that grasp of like, all right, these calories freaking matter. So yeah, that was definitely a freaking long one. We're getting ready to go watch the night show. I'm talking open bodybuilders and everybody else. That's gonna be freaking sweet. And I'm gonna try to make it back and fall asleep in one piece, because I'm a little bit freaking worn out. But that was a pretty dang awesome second day at the Arnold. So now one more, and then everybody's gonna go off to their own places, their own gyms, their own home gyms, and start lifting until next year. So I'll see you tomorrow.